For 200 years, humanity reached for the stars. We were explorers, builders, pioneers. And when we finally found the galactic community, we hoped to find friends. We hoped to find partners. Instead, we found the Galactic Concord, an ancient, arrogant gathering of elder races who had ruled for millennia. They invited us to their great hall, not to welcome us, but to judge us, to measure us against their impossible standards and find us wanting. They laughed at our history. They mocked our achievements. They didn't expect us to simply walk away. And in the 20 years of silence that followed, they had no idea what we were becoming. What happens when a species, humiliated and cast out, chooses not to despair, but to innovate at a pace the galaxy has never seen? When they return, wielding technologies that defy the laws of physics, what message do they bring to their former judges? And how does a single act of quiet defiance become the spark that cracks the foundation of a 10,000-year-old empire? The Galactic Council laughed, until human departed without a word. Before we embark on this tale of silence and fury, take a moment to subscribe. Your support is the light that guides our ships through the dark. Like this video, and let the signal be heard. Alright, let's begin the story. Then, Commander Alex Thorne stood in front of the large window on the bridge of the human exploration ship, the Horizon. Stars stretched out before him, a sea of diamonds scattered across black velvet. He held a small tablet in his hands, reading the invitation for the third time. The Galactic Concord wanted to meet humanity. After 200 years of searching, someone had finally answered our call. Lieutenant Maya Richardson walked up beside him. She was young, sharp, one of the best officers on the ship. 3 weeks to get to Concord Station, sir, she said quietly. It's not much time to prepare for the most important moment in human history. Alex nodded, his gaze fixed on the star charts. Get the diplomatic team together. We leave in 2 days. The team was the best humanity had to offer. Ambassador Eva Rostova, a woman in her 60s with silver hair and sharp blue eyes that had seen the birth of colonies and the resolution of bitter disputes. Dr. Kenji Tanaka, a brilliant scientist who had spent his life studying xenobiology, though he had never actually met an alien. They journeyed through space controlled by the Concord. With every system they passed, the sheer scale of the elder race's power became more apparent. They saw structures as large as moons, energy collectors wrapped around entire stars, ships that seemed to be made of pure, living light. Compared to them, humanity was a child, barely taken its first steps into the cosmos. When they finally reached Concord Station, the entire bridge crew fell silent. The station was enormous, a gleaming, intricate jewel bigger than Earth's moon, with thousands of ships moving in perfect, effortless patterns. They were escorted to a waiting room by small, floating machines that spoke perfect English. The room was clean, bare, and cold. They sat down and waited. An hour passed, then 2, then 3. Alex watched through a window as other ships arrived. Their crews, beings of crystal and gas and chitin, were processed and taken into the station almost immediately. But the humans just waited. He understood. This was a message. You are not important. You are not a priority. You are here because we allow it. Finally, after almost 4 hours, a holographic figure appeared. It was vaguely humanoid, made of blue light. The Concord will see you now. Follow the path. Do not deviate. Speak only when given permission. They followed a glowing line on the floor through corridors that seemed to stretch forever. The station was beautiful in a cold, sterile way. Everything was clean and efficient, but there was no warmth, no life. They passed other aliens. Most ignored them. A few stopped to stare, and Alex heard what sounded like derisive laughter from more than one group. The Concord chamber was a weapon built of architecture. Alex had seen stadiums on Earth, but this was different. The room was so large he couldn't see the far wall. Seating rose up in massive tiers, and thousands of aliens filled the space, looking down. He saw creatures the size of cars, beings made of liquid metal, things that seemed to exist in more than 3 dimensions. Their forms hurting his eyes to look at directly. The human delegation was brought to a small, single platform at the very bottom of the chamber, positioned like criminals before a judge. Ambassador Rostova stepped forward, her back straight, her voice strong. Honorable members of the Concord, we come before you today as humanity, a species eager to join your fellowship. She never got to finish her opening statement. A sound began to ripple through the chamber. It started small, but grew quickly, a wave of noise washing over them. Alex felt his stomach sink as he recognized it. They were laughing. Not polite chuckles. This was open, mocking laughter. Hundreds of alien species laughing at them. At humanity. At their presumption in thinking they belonged here. Ambassador Rostova stopped speaking, a flash of confusion and hurt on her face. The sound echoed off the walls, a tidal wave of contempt. A crystalline Concord member raised one of its appendages, and the laughter died down. Proceed, the crystalline being said, its tone carrying barely hidden amusement. Eva tried to continue, but her confidence was shaken. She spoke of human achievements, faster than light travel, successful colonies, art, science, medicine. As she spoke, Alex watched the reactions. Most of the aliens looked bored. Some were talking quietly among themselves. Others watched with condescending smiles. When she finally finished, a Concord member with reptilian features spoke, its voice dripping with poison. "How quaint," it said, and the laughter returned, even louder than before. "Tell us, young species," the reptilian being continued, addressing the entire chamber. "How long ago did you discover fire? 200,000 of your years. 300,000. Dr. Tanaka stepped forward, adjusting his glasses nervously. Current evidence suggests controlled use of fire dates back approximately 400,000 years. They have barely learned to make fire in galactic terms, the council member announced to the assembly, and they believe themselves ready to sit among us. It paused. The Valanth achieved faster than light travel before your species existed. The Krell built their first star forge when your ancestors were still living in trees. More laughter. Alex saw Dr. Tanaka's face flush with humiliation. A third council member, a being whose appendages flowed like wings made of light, leaned forward. "Let us hear of your wars, humans. Surely you have moved beyond such primitive behavior." "We have had conflicts," Eva answered, her voice firm. "But we have also achieved long periods of peace. Our last major conflict ended almost 200 years ago." "How many wars?" the angelic being interrupted. "In the last 1,000 of your years? How many times have you killed your own kind?" Kenji consulted his tablet, his hands shaking slightly. "The exact number depends on the definition of war." "Hundreds," the being pressed. "Thousands. You created weapons that split atoms. Weapons powerful enough to destroy your own world. And you used them. On each other. We learned from those mistakes," Eva insisted. "Those very conflicts taught us the importance of unity." "You learned nothing." A booming voice came from the assembly. An insectoid creature the size of a vehicle stood, its voice like thunder. "You still maintain weapons capable of destroying your own world. You still divide yourselves by imaginary lines on maps. You are savages playing dress-up, pretending to be civilized." The chamber erupted in a cacophony of approval. Alex felt something cold and hard settle in his chest. This wasn't a diplomatic meeting. This was a performance. A show designed to humiliate them. The decision had been made before they ever arrived. One of the council members, a being of flowing liquid, called for order. "Young humans," it said, its tone both sympathetic and patronizing, "you must understand your place. This community is ancient. You are children asking to run with giants." Another added, "What you call achievements, we consider basic developmental milestones. Your technology is crude. Your society is unstable. Perhaps in another 100,000 years, you may be ready. But today, you are not worthy." The chamber fell silent. Every eye was on the humans. Waiting. Alex looked at his team. Maya's face was flushed with rage. Kenji looked stunned, his faith in rational discourse shattered. Eva stood with her head high, but he could see the tremor in her hands. He made a decision that would change everything. "We have heard enough," Alex said. His voice was quiet, but it cut through the silence like a knife. Every alien in the chamber turned to look at him. Ambassador Rostova, Dr. Tanaka, Lieutenant Richardson. "We're leaving." Eva turned to him, confusion on her face. "Commander." "Now," Alex said firmly. He looked up at the council, his expression calm, almost neutral. "Thank you for your time." That was all he said. No arguments. No rebuttals. No pleas. He simply acknowledged their time and turned to leave. He walked toward the exit with steady, measured steps. His team, after a moment of shocked hesitation, followed him. Their footsteps echoed in the vast, silent chamber. The shock of the humans simply walking away was so absolute that no one seemed to know how to react. Aliens who had been laughing moments before now sat frozen, trying to process what had just happened. As they passed through the massive doors, Alex heard the first confused murmurs behind them. Why did they leave? Weren't they going to argue? Weren't they going to beg? Let them wonder, Alex thought. Only when they were sealed inside the horizon, with the engines warming up, did Maya finally speak. Sir, what just happened back there? We left, Lieutenant, Alex said, his voice hard as steel. Kenji, calculate a course back to Earth. Eva, compose a full report. Every detail. Maya, monitor all Concord frequencies. I want to know immediately if they try to contact us. They humiliated us, Kenji said, his voice hollow. No, Alex replied. They revealed themselves. There's a difference. They showed us exactly what they are. Now we know. What did they reveal, Commander? Eva asked. Arrogance, Alex said simply. Complacency. They're so certain of their superiority, they can't imagine being wrong. They measure everything by age, as if time alone grants wisdom. They've forgotten that being old just means you've been around a long time. It doesn't automatically make you right. The Horizon undocked from Concord Station without incident. No one tried to stop them. During the long journey home, the delegation debated what to do next. Eva argued for future diplomatic attempts. Kenji argued for complete isolation. Alex listened, but said little. He was thinking. When they reached Earth, they were immediately summoned to meet with the Secretary-General of the United Earth Government. Eris Thorne was 73 years old, with white hair and sharp green eyes that missed nothing. She had been a soldier, then a diplomat, and finally the leader of Earth's unified government. She listened to their full report without interruption. When they finished, she sat quietly for a long moment. So they rejected us, she finally said. Alex shook his head. They didn't take us seriously enough to reject us, Madam Secretary General. We were entertainment, a chance to remind other young species of their place. We were there to be laughed at. And you walked out, she said, looking directly at him. Yes, ma'am. A small, dangerous smile crossed her face. Good. I've been dealing with arrogant old men my entire career. The galaxy, apparently, has them too. The question now is what we do about it. The news of what happened at Concord Station spread like wildfire. Humans were angry, insulted, but Secretary General Thorne had a different idea. She gave a speech that was broadcast to every human settlement in space. They think we're children, she said, her voice ringing with defiance. They think our youth makes us weak. But being young also means we are energetic, innovative. We haven't learned to say impossible yet. We haven't become comfortable. She paused, her eyes seeming to look at every human across the stars. If they won't allow us a seat at their table, then we will build our own table. If they won't respect us for who we are, then we will become something they cannot ignore. We will show the galaxy what youth and determination can accomplish. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. Humanity, united by a common insult, focused its collective energy on a single goal, proving the Concord wrong. The Advancement Initiative was born. The first decision was to close human borders. It sent a clear message. Humanity was choosing isolation on its own terms. Human space became opaque, a region where information won. In, but nothing came back out. The Concord took notice. Some members expressed concern that humanity was preparing for war. Let them sulk, the reptilian member dismissed. They will come back when they grow hungry or lonely. They need us. But humanity did not come back. 1 year passed, then 5, then 10. Human ships vanished from neutral zones. Any ship that approached human space was met by efficient, firm patrol vessels and turned away. Inside those closed borders, humanity was transforming itself. They measure civilization by age, Secretary General Thorne said to a gathering of humanity's brightest minds. They think time automatically grants wisdom. But what matters is what you do with that time. A young physicist, Dr. Samira Khan, stood up. We've been trying to catch up to them. That's the wrong approach. We can't outage them, but we can outthink them. We can out-innovate them. Ancient species become conservative. Stable means stagnant. They've stopped asking what if, because they think they already know all the answers. We're still hungry. The strategy was clear. Humanity would not follow the same path as the elder races. It would pursue radical innovations, accept higher risks, and leverage its unified purpose to move faster than the ancient bureaucracies of the Concord ever could. The first project was the most controversial. The Concord had strict, ancient protocols limiting artificial intelligence. They had cautionary tales of AIs gone wrong. The protocols were fundamental galactic law. Humanity ignored them completely. The Oracle Network was born, a distributed artificial intelligence that existed across every human colony and ship simultaneously. It didn't replace human decision-making. It augmented it, processing vast amounts of information and generating scenarios at speeds no biological mind could match. It's risky, Thorne admitted when she approved the project. But everything we're doing is risky. That's the point. Oracle became operational in year 7 of isolation. Within months, it had revolutionized every aspect of human civilization. Scientific research accelerated. Resource management became incredibly efficient. Next came medicine. Human scientists, guided by Oracle's processing power, pushed boundaries the Concord had deemed too dangerous. Genetic modifications, cellular regeneration, neural enhancement. Within 7 years, the average human lifespan had increased from 120 years to over 250. Then came the quantum fold drive. It was a technology born from a radical new understanding of physics, something Dr. Kahn had theorized and Oracle had helped simulate into reality. It allowed a ship to fold space, traveling anywhere in charted space within days instead of weeks. While the Concord assumed humanity was struggling in its 17 known systems, we were secretly expanding. Using the new fold drives, exploratory vessels pushed into regions the Concord had deemed too distant or too dangerous. New colonies sprouted in these frontier territories. By year 15 of isolation, humanity had more than tripled its colonial presence. What emerged was a humanity fundamentally different from the one that had stood before the Concord. Humans now lived longer. Their minds were augmented by Oracle. Their technology had advanced in directions the galactic community had never explored. Their territory was vast and secret. They were self-sufficient, and they were growing. 20 years after walking out of the Concord chamber, Commander Alex Thorne, now Admiral, returned to Concord Station. He came in the U.S. Odyssey. It was nothing like the Horizon. It was larger, sleeker, and its hull seemed to shift and ripple, a side effect of the contained quantum field from its fold drive. He didn't request permission to dock. He guided his ship directly to the diplomatic priority berths, the spaces reserved exclusively for Concord High Council members. With a gentle tractor beam, he nudged a Lorian trade master's opulent vessel out of the way and docked. The station erupted in alarms. Security vessels surrounded the Odyssey. Hundreds of signals bombarded his ship, demanding identification and explanation. The Odyssey's communication systems, enhanced by Oracle, processed all the messages simultaneously and responded with a single, simple text transmission broadcast on all station-wide channels. Admiral Alex Thorne, representing the sovereignty of humanity, requests an audience with the Galactic Concord. The Concord convened an emergency session. They were furious, but they were also deeply, deeply curious. They granted the audience. This time, Alex came alone. He walked through the corridors, his simple dark blue uniform a stark contrast to the opulence around him. The aliens didn't laugh this time. They stared. With fear. With confusion. He was brought to the same platform at the base of the chamber, positioned to be looked down upon. But Alex stood there with absolute confidence, his posture relaxed, his expression calm. The crystalline council member spoke first, its translated voice carrying the same condescending tone. Commander Thorne, how unexpected. We assumed humanity had decided to remain in isolation indefinitely. Have you returned to petition once more for membership? No, Alex said simply. The single word hung in the air, clear and absolute. It destroyed every assumption they had about why he was there. Then why have you come? The reptilian council member demanded. Alex smiled. There was something in that smile that made several nearby representatives shift uncomfortably. I came to deliver a message. He paused, letting the silence build. 20 years ago, I stood in this chamber and listened as you mocked us, dismissed us, and treated us as children. You measured us by age and found us wanting. You compared our few 100,000 years of history to your millions and concluded we were primitive. You are young, the Liquid Council member said. That is a simple fact. Yes, Alex agreed, his voice suddenly strong and clear. We are young. Young in the way a fire is young. Young in the way a storm is young. Young in the way anything with energy and momentum and hunger is young. He looked up, meeting the gaze of the council members on their high thrones. You asked what we've been doing for 20 years. I'll show you. He activated a small data device. The chamber's holographic systems engaged, hijacking them with an ease that was itself a terrifying demonstration of power. The space filled with images. New human colonies, dozens of them, scattered across systems the Concord had never even charted. Ships using propulsion technology that worked on principles the elder races had never explored. Medical facilities where humans were living 2 to 3 times longer than they had just 20 years ago. Massive construction projects, industrial complexes, and research stations that demonstrated a level of development that should have taken centuries, not decades. This is impossible, someone in the assembly gasped. 20 years is not enough time. Your records show we controlled only 17 systems, Alex corrected. We now have permanent settlements in 72. We didn't expand into known space where you could track us. We expanded into regions you deemed too distant, too dangerous, or too difficult to bother with. While you were comfortable in your well-mapped territories, we were exploring the frontiers. The crystalline council member leaned forward. You present this as achievement. You built colonies in unstable space. You experimented with technologies that have no proven safety record. You ignored protocols that were developed over millions of years for good reason. This is not wisdom. This is recklessness. Maybe, Alex acknowledged without hesitation. But it's our recklessness. Our choice. Our risk to take. That's what you never understood. We didn't need your permission to try. We didn't need your approval to succeed. We came here 20 years ago because we thought joining your community was important. He continued, his voice resonating with power. You taught us it wasn't. The chamber erupted in noise. The angelic council member raised its flowing appendages, calling for silence. When the noise died down, it spoke, its voice uncertain for the first time. And now what do you want from us? What is the purpose of this message? Alex's smile widened. Nothing. He let the words sink in. I want nothing from you. I came here as a courtesy, to inform you that human space is reopening to trade and diplomatic contact, but only on our terms. We will establish embassies in neutral zones for species that wish to engage with us as equals. We will consider trade agreements and scientific exchanges with species that treat us with respect. He looked directly at the High Council. But we will not petition for Concord membership. We don't need it. We have our own alliance, our own community, our own table. You cannot simply declare yourself independent of the Galactic Order. The reptilian member hissed. There are rules. Protocols. Your rules, Alex countered calmly. Your protocols. Your systems. We're not breaking them, because we were never truly part of them. You made that abundantly clear 20 years ago, when you laughed at us. A being from the assembly, a member of one of the younger species that had also been denied full recognition, stood up suddenly. Its voice trembled but carried across the chamber. If humanity can do this, if they can choose their own path and succeed, then what's to stop others from doing the same? What's to stop us from following their example? The question sent a visible wave of alarm through the council members. Alex saw it in their reactions, the sudden, horrifying realization of what his presence really meant. Humanity's success wasn't just about humanity. It was a crack in the foundation of their entire system of control. I'll tell you what we learned in 20 years of isolation, Alex said, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. We learned that age doesn't automatically grant wisdom. We learned that comfort can breed complacency. We learned that sometimes the most advanced civilization is the one still willing to advance. He looked around at the thousands of stunned faces. And most importantly, we learned that respect cannot be given. It can only be earned. And we stopped caring about earning yours. He deactivated the holographic display. The images of human achievement faded away. The galaxy is far bigger than this station. Bigger than this Concord. There's room for different ways of being. You can continue as you always have. That's your choice. But don't expect humanity to wait another 100,000 years for your approval. We have our own path now. We have our own future. And we're going to build it ourselves. Alex Thorne turned to leave. And once again, The chamber fell into absolute silence. But this time, it wasn't the shocked silence of confusion. It was the stunned silence of dawning realization. The human wasn't begging. He wasn't arguing. He was stating a simple fact and walking away because he truly didn't need anything from them.